So what is this HTML that I've been talking about so much? Well, it stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And essentially, it's the language of the web. It's the language that every web page is written in. If you want to learn more about it, just Google what is HTML, and there's some great explanations there that have a bit more detail. But for now, I'm going to show you some HTML, and that's what we're going to be working with. So we're going to go to a very nice website called example.com, which is very much what it says on the tin. It's an example website. It's a nice, easy way to get used to what HTML is and how it works. So this is what example.com looks like. What we want to do is to look at the HTML that creates this page. And we can do that very easily in Chrome by control-clicking or right-clicking on the page and clicking View Page Source. You can do it in most other browsers as well, but this is it. So this is the page source, or the HTML that creates this page. So let's have a little look and see what's going on here. First off, you'll notice that quite a few things have these angled brackets around them. These are called tags, and they are special keywords that tell the browser something about the code that's being written. So here you can see at the very top we've got a doc type, which just tells the browser the document type that we're working with here, which is, of course, HTML. Then we've got a second tag, which says HTML, and that's where the HTML begins. Now, if I jump right to the end of the document down here, you can see we've got the same thing, but with a slash before it here. And so that means that is where the HTML ends. So the tag at the top here is known as the opening tag, because it's where the HTML begins. And then the tag at the end is the ending tag or closing tag, because it's where the HTML ends. Then moving down, we've got the head or header of the document. So this part is where information about the document, such as its title and some other special information, is stored. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail in a minute, but just notice we've got a closing tag there with head in it. So that's where the head ends. So this bit here is the head of the page. I'm going to ignore the contents of the head for the moment because they're a little bit more complicated and just go straight to the body. So after the head comes the body, and there's the closing tag for the body. So this is the body part of the page, which, as you might guess, contains the main content of the page. Then after the body, we have a div tag. Div here is short for division or section of a website. So we might divide the different sections up into different divisions, and we do that using div tags. So from the div starting tag to the div ending tag is the div section. Now we're almost at the first bit of content here, but just before that we've got another tag which is h1, and that's known as a header tag, and it's header 1. So this is the main header for the page. And there you can see its closing tag. So this is the h1 part of the domain. And essentially what that does is it takes the text example domain and makes it nice and big and bold. So the browser knows to make example domain big and bold because it's inside these h1 tags here. Next, we've got P, which is short for paragraph. So this is a paragraph tag. And this section here is therefore a paragraph, and paragraph just means normal text, really. So as you can see, this text here is just displayed normally. It's not particularly big and bold. And then underneath that, we've got a second paragraph section, which has inside it a link. We're going to be talking more about links later on, so I won't go into exactly how this works. But as you might guess, this link, if you click on it, will lead to this page here. So iana.org/domains/example. Not sure if I've pronounced that right, but hopefully you get the idea. So that's the actual content of the page, which is contained within the body tags there. And that's why it ends up looking like that. But there's a little bit more style that we haven't looked at yet. We've got this grey background, and we've got this curvy white box here as well. So where is that encoded in the HTML? Well, this is where we need to look in the head section. So now let's have a quick look and see if we can get to grips with this. So first off, we've got a title, which is example domain. And the title is what appears in the browser tab up here. You can't actually see it anywhere in the page itself, but it's what appears in that tab up there. Then we have a char set or character set. UTF-8 is the standard character set. If you want to check out exactly what UTF-8 is, feel free to have a quick Google, but for now we just need to know that our standard character set that we're going to be using is UTF-8. Then we have a second meta tag, which is content type. So this tells the browser again what the type of content is that we have here, and it's just text HTML and UTF-8. It just reinforces what we've seen up here. Then we have a viewport meta tag, which defines the width of our page, which is just set to the device width, and the initial scale is 1, which makes sense. We don't particularly want to zoom in or zoom out when we load the page. And then finally, we've got this style section. So this is CSS, or cascading style sheets, which we'll be looking at in much more detail in the next section. But for now, we can just have a look at some of it and see what it might be doing. So first of all, we've got body here, which matches our body tag down there. And we've got a background color and then a special code. And this code actually matches the gray of this background color. So if you had a different code here, you'd have a different background color. Then we've got a margin and padding settings, and we've got a font settings as well. So there's a number of different fonts that might be used on this page. And then we've got some styling instructions for the div tag, which you'll remember is that section there. So it's got a width in a certain number of pixels, a margin, some padding, a background color, and a border radius. So that's what sets up this white box to be the width that it is and to have those nice curvy borders there. And finally, we've got our link color, which just sets the color of the link to this blue here, and the text decoration none tells it not to be underlined, because normally links are underlined, but on this website they are not. And this last bit here, I won't go into much detail, but really it's just some special stylings that only happen if the width is less than 700 pixels, i.e. probably you're looking at it on a phone. So that's it. We'll be looking at this in much more detail in the next video, but all you need to remember at this stage is that we have tags in HTML which open and close, and there are certain special tags that divide up the sections of our code. So the header, and then the body, and then within those sections we have more tags that allow us to adjust the style and the content of the page that we're creating. Got that? I hope so. In the next video then, we'll go back to your text editor and we'll start creating a website for ourselves.